Early last year, I lost my mind and purchased a rod and reel combo, the Daiwa Exist 3000 LT and the Steez AGS 76MML Light, for roughly $1,400 total. After using this setup extensively for an entire season, here's my brief review. Without going into much technical detail, that's a job for someone like Nick at Tackle Advisors. I want to try to give you guys a sense of what it's like fishing with Daiwa's flagship freshwater spinning reel and one of the most highly regarded do-it-all spinning rods available on the US market. Let's start with the Exist. The body of the reel is made from a magnesium alloy, which is as light as composites like Zion or CI4. My 3000 size reel weighs in at 6.4 ounces, but the magnesium frame is far more rigid than any composite, and that translates into much tighter tolerances, especially under load. Its main design motif, the circular monocoque body housing, is immediately apparent at first glance, since Daiwa uses a huge engine plate cover that mirrors the gearing inside. It simultaneously has a more compact body and houses a larger drive gear than comparable spinning reels from Shimano, and that is an impressive feat of engineering on Daiwa's part. I personally think it is the most beautiful and unique reel design I've ever seen, like an evolved freshwater brethren to the Van Staal and Z-Bass. Here I should mention that for a MSRP of $799, the Exist LT comes with Daiwa's Platinum Service Plan, which entails free priority service and turnaround for the life of the reel. Because there are mag seals at the line roller, pinion, and either side of the drive gear, this is not a reel made for self-servicing, and the Platinum service is a nice touch. So in terms of performance, just how smooth is the Daiwa Exist LT? But seriously, the Exist has simply the most refined retrieve of any spinning reel I've ever used, and that includes the previous and current generation Stella. There is virtually no startup inertia, and the rotation is free of any static throughout its revolution and at any speed. This is especially noticeable with finesse moving baits such as spy baits, small swim baits, and hair jigs, horizontal presentations with low water resistance on slow, steady retrieves, so any hiccups from the reel would be immediately broadcast to your hand. Smooth isn't even the right word to describe what it's like making thousands of handle revolutions with this reel. It's almost as if you don't feel the reel at all. And the other part of the performance equation when it comes to spinning reels, how smooth is the Daiwa Exist drag? I've only used either a 5-pound fluoro leader or straight 5-pound fluoro with this reel and landed some pretty big smallies without the drag ever skipping a beat. Jumps, sudden surges, small hooks, light line, this drag system keeps up perfectly. Now moving on to the rod, the Steez AGS 76MML Light is often touted as the best big water spinning rod that can do it all, from bottom contact to moving baits. In my opinion, it does finesse moving presentations a lot better than anything that requires precise, delicate tip work. The action is sort of a medium fast tip, transitioning into a surprisingly parabolic midsection under load. All good things when you're using light line and very small hooks. At 7'6" and 4.3 ounces, It balances surprisingly well, not quite tip up with the 6.3 ounce exist, but sort of a neutral balance right at my grip. It does okay as a jerkbait rod, but the tip doesn't quite recover fast enough to make it ideal. Ditto with slackline snap jigging techniques. The tip bounces around quite a bit, and you find yourself pausing in between snaps, waiting for the tip to recover. The overall length and weight of the rod also renders it rather cumbersome for light twitching or tight lining small jig head rigs on the bottom. But that being said, the Steez AGS is incredibly sensitive due to both the high-end, high-modulus blank as well as the carbon fiber guide train, unique to Daiwa rods. And it can certainly do bottom contact base better than I'd expect for a rod of its dimensions. What it really is, however, is the most perfect spy baiting rod ever made. It bombs out casts and loads up perfectly to keep big smallies pinned on a notoriously easy bait for fish to throw. Now, whenever the conversation turns to high-end gear, invariably someone would chime in and ask, but will it catch you more fish? The answer is maybe. It certainly won't catch you fewer fish. And when it comes to finesse fishing, a high-end spinning outfit certainly lands you more fish due to its superior drag and certain low characteristics of the rod. But that's rather missing the point in my opinion. Even the best anglers on earth spend 90% of their time on the water not actually catching fish, but almost 100% of their time with a rod and reel in their hand, casting and retrieving and working a lure. A smooth reel, a light, well-balanced rod, these things bring joy and pleasure to the sport of fishing. I've probably made thousands, tens of thousands of handle turns on my Exist LT over the last year, and just thinking about it now brings a smile to my face. The fun factor, the joy factor, is certainly priced into this level of equipment. So finally, is the Exist worth close to $800? Is the Steez AGS worth almost $600? In terms of straightforward function and value, probably not. A $200 to $250 Stratic Vanford Ballistic will get you around 80% of the Exist performance in almost every way, from refinement and retrieve to smoothness and drag. Likewise, rods in the Zodias and X-Bride range will get you fairly close to Steez AGS sensitivity and even lightness, balance, etc. But closing the gap on that last 20% in fishing tackle and in so many other things will often cost you triple or quadruple more. Ultimately, the question, is something high-end worth the price, is a rather philosophical one. Here's something you might have forgotten about. Remember the fidget spinner craze of a few years ago?
The challenge of tricks and twirling has generated a barrage of how-to videos on YouTube.
Well, these are custom fidget spinners made from titanium and tungsten and other rare metals, along with some of the smoothest bearings man can create in 2021. The price on these things are, get ready for it, $825 for a fucking fidget spinner. As ludicrous as I find that personally, having delved into high-end fishing tackle and custom pool cues and other hobbies that rely on gear, it doesn't really surprise me. Someone once said on a forum when a similar topic came up, I might not be able to afford the fastest sports car or the biggest house on the block, but I damn well can afford the best fishing reel in the universe. And I say amen to that. If fishing is your thing, then all the tired cliches apply. You only live once, life is short, nice things are nice. And the Daiwa Exist Steez AGS combo is very, very nice indeed.